This dude right here duped everybody and became the superintendent of a school district in Des Moines, Iowa. And come to find out, he was actually illegally in the country and had a pretty large criminal record. Here's the story.
So much of his resume now appears to be grossly exaggerated, to put it generously. It turns out MIT says they have no record of him attending that doctoral degree that he claims that he had from Morgan State. He never received. That did come up during the hiring process, but he explained it away by saying he had completed everything but the dissertation, and that allowed the school board to move forward with hiring him. However, there's other things that are deeply, deeply troubling that have come out, including even the Best Principal of the Year award that he would celebrate that he had received. Turns out that George Washington University says they don't even give out that award. We also have learned that back in 2023, soon after he was hired, it seems like he also had a restraining order placed against him. We're still trying to dig into the details of all of that. But as you can imagine, none of this even comes close to comparing to how much hot water he's in when it comes to these federal charges, because we learned today through court documents that not only did federal agents find one handgun in his possession when in the school car that he was driving when he was arrested, but they also did a search of his home. There were 3 additional firearms that were found in his home. Now, it is against the law, we should say explicitly, for somebody who is not here with legal status, and he lost his legal status after overstaying a student visa. It is illegal for somebody without legal status to possess a firearm. Again, one of those firearm charges came up during the hiring process. Roberts explained that away, and the board said at that time that all of it made sense to them, and they proceeded clearly with his hiring.
Now, I must admit, that guy was dressed to impress. He was looking real sharp, and I guarantee you that's one of the reasons that so many people believed him, because he was well put together. But they did leave out one piece of information, and that is that he was actually registered to vote in Maryland. Now, if I remember correctly, the left was constantly saying that illegal immigrants were never going to be able to actually vote or affect an election. But clearly, if this gentleman is registered to vote and he's an illegal immigrant, I'm sure there's plenty others that are also doing the same thing. But that's not it. Let's watch the next clip.
Last Friday, after Roberts was arrested by federal immigration agents, the public was informed that he had overstayed a student visa issued in 1999, and rallies were held in support of the immigrant from Guyana.
Even if everything they said is true, it does not mean that he should be kidnapped and deported.
He said even if everything he did is true, it does not mean that he should be kidnapped and deported. Clearly, this guy has his signals mixed, because he was not kidnapped, he was arrested. And that's what happens to criminals when they do something illegal.
The Department of Homeland Security went even further yesterday, alleging Roberts had a, quote, long record of criminal conduct, including 2 previous weapons charges and a narcotics charge. There was also a restraining order issued against Roberts in 2023.
So they went over some of the most recent criminal offenses that he's had while in the U.S., but I'm going to go over all of them from the beginning. Starting in July 3rd, 1996, he was charged for criminal possession of narcotics with intent to sell, criminal possession of narcotics, criminal possession of a forgery instrument, and possession of a forged instrument in New York. November 13th, 1998, a charge for third-degree unauthorized use of a vehicle in Queens, New York, which was later dismissed. November 1st, 2012, a conviction for reckless driving, unsafe operation, and speeding in Maryland. February 3rd, 2020, charged for second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, having a loaded firearm outside of his home or business, third-degree criminal possession of a weapon, an ammunition feeding device, and fourth-degree weapon charges. January 20th of 2022, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania convicted Robert of unlawful possession of a loaded firearm. September 26, 2025, Robert was arrested with a Glock 9mm pistol and a fixed blade hunting knife in his possession. He also had $3,000 in cash. And October 2nd, 2025, Roberts criminally charged with being an illegal alien in possession of firearms.
There are multiple accusations that Roberts falsified his resume. According to documents obtained by the Associated Press, he did not have a doctorate from Morgan State University, but from Trident International, an online for-profit institution. MIT says they have no record of him attending for an MBA program, and George Washington University has no record of a Principal of the Year award.
So as you hear there, this guy was lying left and right every chance he got. And before he was a superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa, he was actually a superintendent in Mill Creek Township School District in Erie, Pennsylvania as well. And he actually started that job in August of 2020. And in December of 2020, his lawful employment authorization expired. So he was working illegally there and then ended up getting hired illegally in Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know how that happens, but somebody's got to be losing their job over this because this blows my mind. Do they not do background checks when somebody applies for a job? I guess not. They just said, hey, this guy seems like he's legit and we're just going to take his word for it. That's all I got for you today. I'll see you on the next one.